Good afternoon, this is Johan Rousseau, the chairman of FIRA. We've been requested by the SABC and a particular program on investigative matters to assist them with response in terms of a deceased person that became decomposed at a funeral parlour, respectively in Orange Farm and then also in the East Rand. And the public must just be made aware that it's only our opinion based on years of experience and research after we wrote the laws for Gauteng Department of Economic Development after being headhunted and after a petition was submitted to the late President Mandela. So it's been an ongoing process since 1999. You will also be reminded that we wrote the Ombudsman in 2016, and this whole process is basically to level the playing fields, to set certain guidelines and standards, and then also to assist the public in the event that there is a problem. In this particular case, and I'm just going to read it as stated and the question posed to us and then respond to that. It is stated that the family allegedly accuses the funeral home of not keeping their deceased mother in a morgue. The mother had a bad smell and did not feel cold at all when they touched the remains. Her body was at the mortuary for only 6 days. They collected the deceased after 4 p.m. on the 27th of January, and by 7 o'clock in the evening added maggots all over the deceased. The body was buried the next day, and I'm just reading what the media says. We always refer to a deceased person. And then a further statement is made that the media allegedly has 2 families that came forward to complain about this particular funeral parlour. The media then states, after speaking to the owner of the funeral parlour, they deny that they are at fault and say they do not know what happened as their fridges operates just fine. And that's clearly what the media has stated. The questions that they are posing to us as FIRA is, how soon does a deceased become decomposed after it's been collected? Because in this particular matter, it was within a matter of 24 hours. What recourse does the family have? Do you think that they monitor their mortuaries or their fridges as well as the deceased persons that they keep? And what kind of penalties do license holders, floating license conditions face, and whether they've been made aware of similar appalling conditions in the past? So what we need to stipulate is that there is certain laws that's overseeing the funeral industry. It's a fact. It's also stipulated within the Health Act 63 of 2013 that a funeral parlour needs to have a mortuary facility. We also could state from our research, based on 30 years of experience, that it's absolutely impossible that a person could decompose in a matter of 24 hours, especially if there was maggots noticed on the deceased person. It also depends on what time it takes to collect a deceased after a deceased had passed away. In such a case where maggots and blisters and decoloring appears, it must be that a deceased must have been left outside a mortuary for at least 2 to 3 days. It could be more and it could be less, but definitely not in a matter of 24 hours. And a licensed, trained funeral parlour that belongs to an organization such as FIRA will be trained, they will be supported and guided in terms of the law, that they also need to ensure that there is an extractor fan and a generator, for example, available at a mortuary to prevent any stench and to ensure that a body or a deceased person doesn't become decomposed. What recourse does a family have in this case? Unfortunately, there is no recourse because there is no ombudsman that's available. And that's what we've pleaded with government, to ensure that we establish a regulator for the funeral industry to oversee and assist funeral parlours, to give guidelines and to provide the necessary support that will enable them to operate in a licensed, compliant environment. Unfortunately, the laws that is defined within the municipal acts only refers to the Health Act, and that's also been violated because many funeral parlours do not have an infrastructure. FIRA proposed certain solutions to government to accommodate all stakeholders, whether they're emerging, small or a large funeral parlour, and that has unfortunately not materialized. We are also in the process, or we have been in the process, of engaging the Law Reform Commission since 2016 after the delay of a funeral ombudsman that would have been able to assist a family or a member of the public in a case where a deceased has become decomposed. Unfortunately, at this stage, we have to place this in front of government and ask our government, what have they done to protect the funeral industry? What have they done to advance, develop and transform the funeral industry? And what have they done to protect the public out there? And we've seen these kind of discrepancies in the media over the past 20 years. And it's an unfortunate reality. It is happening. And at this point in time, there is nothing that we can do as an organization. We can just publicly try and educate the public and then take the necessary steps to assist a member of the family or a family member and a funeral parlour to guide them, support them and train them. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.